Alright, so we're going to be creating a game that's basically going to be like a timed typing thing. So it's going to be you versus the computer, and there's going to be a couple things that separate this game from what we've done before. And how we keep score is going to be one of the things, and just a couple elements that are within it, right? So I've gone ahead and I've sketched out what I want to happen. So I'm going to start down here with the main program about what's going to happen. So basically, there's going to be some ideas that I need to import, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I want to obviously set the score to 0, 0, and then I want to create a list of words to type. So I need basically a word bank, and we're going to give the user a random one of those and a certain amount of time to type it. Okay, so my main game loop is going to be pretty simple. Check the score. If the game's not over, then I want to send it to the function, which is going to be my game function. If the game is over, well then I'm going to print congrats to the right person. So it seems pretty straightforward. It's just a couple things I need to have happen. The hard part is this function, right? Send to the function. So here's my function. Basically, I need to ask if they're ready, because I'm going to use a timer for this one. So as soon as they give me an input there, I'm going to start the timer. I'm going to print out some text for them to type. I'm going to stop the timer as soon as they're done with that text. And then I'm just going to see if certain things are true. So who won the round? Did the computer or the human win it? And then I'm going to return my new score, so my score will no longer be 0, 0. Okay, so that's a lot. Let's start with some of the coding. All right. I'm going to import what I need to import. So I'm going to do this one from TimeIt. I want to import their default timer. So we're going to kind of use that default timer. I'll show you how we use it in a little bit. We're also going to need random. We're going to need that so when we have our list of words that we can pick a random one from that thing. Also, if we want to have them only have a random amount of seconds, so it's different every time, we can have that. Okay. I also want to set the score, so I'm going to create a list here called score, and it is going to start off at 0, 0. So this first one is going to be the human score, and the second one is going to be the computer score, right? Cool. Now I need to come up with the master text list. I'm also going to use a list for this. And I'm going to pause the video real quick because you don't want to watch me type all these. Yeah. All right, so you can create your own, but if you want to use mine, these are mine. So I've already passed through an infinite amount of time. Obviously, Jenny's phone number. The next one, Be Prepared is the best Disney song. And then my final one is Nicolas Cage is a national treasure. Oh, sorry, one more. Why use any Pokemon but Ghastly? Okay, so I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items in my master text list, and they're going to get a random one of those and send it back. Okay, so I want to start my game loop. So while true, okay. So while true, what I want to do in here is check to see if the game is already, if the game isn't over. So what I want to do is if score 0 okay, so score 0 is the 0 item in this first one, right? Because it starts when we start counting computer science, it goes 0, 1, 2, right? So score 0 is this item right here, this first one. Score 1 is the second 0 right there. So we're going to keep updating this list and changing those two numbers. And if both of them are not equal to 3, well then I'm gonna do something, right? I want to create that round's text, right? And that round text is going to be, well, I'm going to set it equal to the master text, right? the thing is, I don't know which master text I want to select. Do I want to select one in the 0 position right here, or the 1 position here? Actually, I want it to be random. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a variable a, and it's just going to be a random integer, and I'm going to pick between 0 and 4. Because I have 5 list items in the master text, I'll need all the numbers between 0 to 4 to pick one. So that way it can be a 0, like I can pick the first one, or the third one, or the fourth one, or the final, like, 5th one, right? So I'm just going to set this to the master text at a position, and a will be that random one. Cool. So the round speed, so we're going to give them a goal that they have to hit. And you can have this be set, I mean, it's just your game, right? I'm going to have it be random, add a little bit of variability in here. So I'm just going to say, pick a number between 7 and 20, and that'll be how much time you have. Okay. And awesome. Okay. So I know what I'm going to be feeding into my function. The question is, what am I going to be getting out of this function? So, well, first let's kind of define that function. So I'm going to be defining this thing up here. That's going to be called, what I use here, def text round. Okay, so I'm defining the text round, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a score, give it the score of the game. I'm going to give it the text that they're supposed to type, and I'm going to give it a target time that they need to type in. And I want it to return the score, the updated score. So I give it the old score, I'm going to return the new score. So I want to feed, what I want it to come back as the new score. So my function right here, text round, right? When it's all said and done, it's going to return the score, and so I'm going to set the score equal to, well, whatever it returns. So the question is what to give it. So let's see here. I'm going to give it the score. I'm going to give it this round's text. Sorry, I used round text, and I'm going to give it round speed. Okay. So just to kind of get the flow of this, because this is the most important part, right? I'm going to say the score, originally it's going to be 0, 0, and that's what I'm going to feed that, right? The round text is going to be a random one from this list, and that'll be the second thing I'm going to plug in my function. And then I'm going to get the round speed, which is just going to be a random number here. So then this is going to take it to the top of our line of code, all the way up here. I'm going to give those 3 inputs. It's going to do all this, and it's going to return the score. When it returns the score, it's going to update, right? Because this right side will just become like, oh, the score is now 0 to 1, and that'll update my score to be 0 and 1. So I want to have it print out a list here. So your score equals that input. Computer score equals that input. Where the first thing, right? So my score, I said, was the first item in that list. So that's going to be whatever's in position 0 for the score thing. The second one is whatever's in position 1, this thing right here, right? The second 0 there. Whatever's in position 1 for the score thing, second spot. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to say, well, what happens? So this is if the game isn't over, we're going to run through that function. But what if they check it and score 0? That's the human score. What if their score equals 3? Well, then I want to print Sweet. Awesome. They're so happy you beat the computer, they invite you over. Cool. So we want to print that off and then we're going to break it. Okay. Also, the computer could beat you. So if the computer, the score at that first position there, if their score equals 3, what we want to have happen is we want to print a little heavy-handed, but you did just lose, and then we want to break. So either way, we're gonna print off a little message to them and end our loop. So that leaves, we've got all this stuff set up good, right? The only part is when we send it to text round. Right now, we don't have a text round thing. So we need to do something like this. We want to ask them if they're ready, right? So I don't really want this to be, I'm just going to create a variable called nothing because I really don't care what they answer here. It's going to be the input of kind of like the directions, right? So I'm going to ask them who will be. Okay. So basically what I have here is I said, okay, you're going to be asked to type a message. It has to be perfect and done in a certain amount of seconds. Press any key to begin. That way they can control the start time. Right? This thing, the any amount of seconds, I have to think about what that is, right? I set the round speed to some number between 7 and 20. Now when I go up here, I can't put that I want that to be equal to the round speed because watch what happens. So my round speed is set to that. I fed it to my program in the third position, which is the third position right here. So this is a local variable, so I can't call it round speed anymore. I've got to call it target time up here. So when I say I wanted a certain amount of seconds, my format, the thing I'm plugging in there is target time, because that's the local variable for that loop. Okay. Now they press the key, so I need to start the timer. So the way I start the timer is I'm going to set the variable called start. And it is going to be the default timer. So that's just going to start it going. The way that I want to stop the timer is to say, well, because I want to figure out the duration or how long it took them, right? So the duration will equal whatever the timer says right now minus whatever it read at the start position. So let's say it starts at like 15 seconds on the clock, right? And it goes, and we stop it at 20 seconds. Basically, we want, this will tell it that it stopped it. The next time it came up was at 20 seconds, so we do 20 minus the 15, and we'll get 5. So the duration must have been 5 seconds long. I'm going to need to stop right here, and we'll finish up in the next